This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, a public debate reveals Queenstown's popularity may be becoming a negative as residents call for change. A Dunedin teenager is working hard to earn new technology for his school by collecting old mobile phones. And an annual celebration of Polynesian styles gets underway after a sombre start. Good evening, I'm Rebecca Dupree. Queenstown's popularity is starting to become its downfall, with residents worried about worsening traffic and housing affordability. Those were among issues prompting about 400 people to attend a public debate for mayor and councillor candidates in the resort last night, and many spectators were unified in their calls for change.
Airing the big issues. Queenstown residents were out in force last night hearing from the resort's mayor and councillor hopefuls. Many locals say the town isn't coping with demand from outside.
It's the pressure from tourism, the pressure on the local infrastructure, and the problem is the locals have to pay for it at this stage and things have to change.
He says Queenstown's councillor and mayoral candidates seem to agree on the town's problems. They include traffic congestion and the ever-increasing cost of housing. But Dunlop's not convinced the solutions being suggested will help the mainstream population.
The average voter in the area, they're not really being looked after. It's all about looking after the big businesses or people who need to come in accommodation-wise to work here. And you know, there is crossover obviously, but you know, what are they actually going to do for the average Joe worker?
There are 5 mayoral hopefuls for the Queenstown Lakes District and 19 council candidates. Some residents are pleased with the diversity of campaigners and the potential for change.
I'd like to see some of the younger ones get in. I think they're a bit more creative, a bit more innovative, a bit more onto the technology.
Queenstown's long been toying with the idea of introducing a visitor levy to help pay for infrastructure. There are also special housing areas earmarked for development. Many locals say it's well and truly time for action.
It's a tough time for some people in Queenstown at the moment, and I think potential councillors have to address those issues.
Whatever the outcome of next month's elections, one thing's for certain: Queenstown's visitor growth isn't expected to slow anytime soon. Rosie Mannins, The South Today.
Dunedin residents have also been engaging with mayoral and councillor candidates at a forum in the city this afternoon. The debate was hosted by the Otago Daily Times and Otago Chamber of Commerce. Candidates introduced themselves and their ideas before a small crowd of about 70 people. The focus was on clarifying what each is hoping to achieve for business and economic development in the city and the wider region.
We don't have time for them to answer every single question. However, they all got an opportunity to put their views forward about how they could grow our city, how they could grow our region, and how they can support our businesses.
A question and answer session towards the end of the debate involved discussion about Gigatown and how to entice more people to live in Dunedin. A Dunedin teenager is collecting old mobile phones to recycle them and earn new computers for his school. The technology upgrade drive is being run nationally by Autism New Zealand, and the local taking part has just received a surprise boost.
A pile of old phones or a pathway to a free iPad. Autism New Zealand is offering people pre-loved and new iPads, laptops or tablets in exchange for old cell phones to be recycled. Kaikorai Valley College Year 9 pupil Nathan Harris lives with autism and wants to collect 165 old cell phones to receive an iPad. He wasn't expecting to be given over 80 old phones this afternoon when approached by the Otago Daily Times and the South Today. The donation by Allied Press left him a little stunned. But he's determined to share the benefits of his haul and give any resulting iPads to the college.
Well, I thought that the school would be more deserving of them, because I didn't really like the idea of me collecting it and me getting it.
He needs 165 phones for one iPad. and currently has just over 100. Harris says he's definitely keen to collect extra so more people can benefit. He says people with autism sometimes struggle with communication and find using technology an easier way to learn.
I think that maybe they have a different way they have different understanding to other people.
He says anyone with an out-of-date mobile phone lying around can drop it in a box at the Kaikorai School's reception. Daryl Beza, The South Today.
A second public charger for electric vehicles is now up and running in Dunedin. It was officially opened this morning in a Great King Street parking building by the Dunedin City Council and Otago Chamber of Commerce. The organisations collaborated on the project, launching it during International Drive Electric Week. Chamber Chief Executive Dougal McGowan says electric vehicles are the way of the future.
This is a first step in what will be a significant infrastructure build that will have to happen throughout the city and the region, and making sure that we're doing that in a planned and sequential way is vital to making sure that it works with the best efficiency.
It's the second public charger for electric vehicles in the city, following Delta's installation of one in Falil Street earlier this year. The government is committing millions of dollars towards doubling the number of electric vehicles on New Zealand roads each year. It has a goal of 64,000 by 2021. Around 6,000 young performers are taking to the stage at the annual Polyfest in Dunedin this week. The event began on a sombre note last night, with organisers remembering community leader Michael Laufiso, who died recently. And then the respectful start made way for warm smiles.
Ho mai te Paki Paki. The Festival of Polynesian Performing Arts, known as Polyfest, began on a sombre note last night, with organisers remembering community leader Michael Laufiso. However, in true Polynesian style, sorrow gave way to smiles as proud whānau cheered on their tamariki.
And I think for a lot of young people in Otago region, this may be the only other opportunity they have engaged with another cultural language that they, particularly from English, so they get to read a lot more te reo, and also they might have some Pacific culture exposure as well.
Organisers estimate around 6,000 pupils from the Waitaki River to Invercargill will perform at this year's event. While many of the audience sees the polished performances on stage with the children at their best, it takes many hours of rehearsal to get them up to a standard. This year, 7 schools have called in expert help in the form of a couple of kapahaka tutors.
Probably my passion in Manawa is the taha wahine for the girls, looking after the girls and making sure I try my hardest to help to instill the values, the qualities that they need to embrace to become strong, very strong, staunch, independent, beautiful, graceful young women. Nice to meet you as well.
Ana Pene's partner, Kopua Waititi, is also guiding these pupils from St Joseph's Cathedral School and a handful of others through Polyfest. He says a significant moment in the couple's life prompted him to engage with his whakapapa.
In 2010, Ana and I had the birth of our first son, and when he was born, everything kind of got real, and that's when we quit our full-time jobs and decided to follow this path on Māoritanga, was mainly because of our kids.
While many schools have strong cultural units, and in some cases Te Reo Māori immersion units, some chose to bring specialists in to help.
And Ana and Kopo have just been amazing. They're amazing, and if you want a quality performance, you hire quality people, and they've just been amazing and have taught our kids so much.
Polyfest runs at the Edgar Centre until Friday afternoon. Organisers say for the first time, all the performances are being broadcast live on the Otago Polyfest Facebook page. Daryl Beza, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, we meet another of Dunedin's mayoral candidates.
Hi, my name is Wonderful. I believe that together we can build a brighter future for Dunedin. I'm presenting 2 major infrastructure proposals that won't cost the ratepayer a single cent. The first is a flood protection scheme for South Dunedin based on successfully used displacement tent systems overseas. The second is a major new redevelopment of our Harbourside area to create a world-class community space. Vote Wonderful, and let's build a brighter future together. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Doug Hall. I stood for council in the 2013 election and got elected. The achievements I've been part of in the last 3 years have been of a great benefit to Dunedin City. Reducing debt, improving contracts and better liaison with the general public. To further reduce debt and better management of all contracts. Vote Doug Hall, first choice for council.
Silberhorn's Collagen Plus naturally supports your collagen levels, giving you younger, firmer-looking skin, healthier, shinier hair and stronger nails. Be quick, buy one now and get a second pack half price. Call 0800 502 402.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
Hi, I'm Dave Cole, Mayor of Dunedin, and together we're building a great city, not just for now, but for the future. And I'm committed to creating a positive legacy of sensible investments, sustainable businesses, an emphasis on infrastructure and environment, healthier homes, and your community well-being. A future our kids can be really proud to inherit. If you want the same positive future, please mark 1 for Dave Cole for Mayor and return your voting form. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Dave Yardley and I'm standing for the Otago Regional Council. Two of Otago's greatest resources are our outstanding natural landscape and our capability for agriculture. Getting the balance right between preservation of that landscape and intensification of farming is a real challenge. To meet that challenge, we need a firm understanding of both our environment and our land-based businesses. I have that understanding to ensure that our landscape and farming can coexist in harmony for generations to come. A vote for Dave Yardley is a vote for reason, balance and integrity.
Hello, my name is Anne Galloway and I'm standing for election to Dunedin City Council. I have lived and worked in Dunedin for 20 years and I'm very proud of this city. And I do know that at times there are very difficult decisions that need to be made. We need councillors who care about the people, about their issues such as healthcare, housing and an ageing population. Vote for me and I will do my best for you and for Dunedin.
Welcome back. Well, we now continue our interviews with Dunedin's mayoral candidates, and this evening we're talking to Lee van der Vis. Good evening.
Good evening.
How long have you lived in Dunedin?
Lived in Dunedin probably 40 out of 61 years.
Oh wow. Why are you running for the mayoralty?
Because I believe Dunedin needs a better mayor, someone who really understands A, how to make the infrastructure work, and B, how to promote what really is an enormous potential that Dunedin has.
What leadership experience can you bring to the table?
30 years of being a team leader in business in the real world. I used to be the production manager for 2 different companies in the UK in my 20s, and I've run businesses since then in Dunedin. I know how to make a dollar, I know how to provide service, and I know how to get the best out of employees. And I've done very well doing it. Dunedin's been kind to me. In 2004 I basically retired to become a city councillor, and it's been fairly rough 9 years on council, but yeah, it's, I think, been worthwhile.
What do you think are the 2 top issues facing this city?
Infrastructure in the first place. I mean, a city that doesn't have workable drains and has the whole of South Dunedin relying on one screen is not a city that anyone can have confidence in. To get confidence, especially in South Dunedin, we need to ensure that the drainage is properly up to scratch. The screen that blocked caused the extra 8 inches of flooding is what did virtually all the damage to the homes in South Dunedin. There was a second pump that wasn't even switched on because we didn't have regional council permission apparently. All these basic infrastructural things desperately need looking at. I have the answers to all of them. They're not hard. They just need someone who understands nuts and bolts of how things work.
And the second issue?
The second issue really is the direction for the city. The current mayor seems to think that cycleways is going to, in a hilly city with fairly inclement weather, is going to be what brings the kind of people we want here. I don't believe that's the case. I certainly support the Harbourside cycleway, that's got a lot of value, but mixing cycles and heavy traffic up the one-way street system, quite frankly, is madness, and we need to stop it. We need to first spend that kind of money on drainage. Once we guarantee flood-free homes in South Dunedin, property values there will rise significantly. We'll be able to get more rates from that area. We'll be able to reinvest them in what is, after all, the largest, flat, well-serviced for infrastructure, except for drainage, area in Dunedin. South Dunedin has enormous potential. It has been ignored. It has been sidelined. They let Hillside go. They've lost Carisbrook, obviously. Tremendous opportunities, even with the stadium, to do something with Carisbrook. It was given away for $3 million in the end, and still a wasteland.
What do you think are the core functions of the Dunedin City Council?
Core functions are keeping the roads, the drains, the water, the sewage, all that kind of thing working. That's an absolute must. That's your nuts and bolts. But then there's a whole other area of actually facilitating, coordinating and promoting what the city has to sell to the rest of the world. And in that, Dunedin has had several kind of attempts which have been pretty amateur, really, not very effective.
So how would you say then that the current council is performing?
Or sort of B minus, really, you know, and B minus for a city with so many brilliant people in it. We have so many talented people. I'm not just talking about, you know, the brilliant people at the university. I'm talking about people with artistic skills. I'm talking about people with engineering skills. South Dunedin's full of them. Some of them are working in scrapyards because there's no engineering work for them to do. We really have an enormous potential that needs to be developed. We've got enormous port potential here. We've got the best natural harbour in the South Island. We should be the #1 port in the South Island. But as long as the ORC and the DCC kind of don't really get on, we aren't going to develop that potential. Tauronga's done it with an inland port. Invercargill's doing it with an inland port now. Dunedin really needs to. The first thing I will do as mayor is I'll be going around to see Bodecker at the regional council and saying, come on, let's get together, let's get common billing, let's get common back services, let's use the same computer programs, let's save the ratepayers a whole heap of money, and let's develop the port and let's develop the Harbourside as a secondary thing.
What else would you do differently if you were mayor?
I would be very careful to make sure that all the paperwork that arrived in front of councillors was balanced and relevant, because currently most of it is pre-cooked. I would not have any agenda of my own. I wouldn't have any green agenda or right-wing or left-wing agenda at all. I would simply work very hard to ensure that staff produce reports that give you all the information you need to make a proper informed decision. That hasn't been happening, and it needs to if we are to make, the new council is to make good decisions. If you let people know what's going on, and you don't hide information from them, it's amazing how even ordinary people on the street can actually see what needs to be done. When I asked, for instance, under Lagoima for some information on what the faults were with the town hall redevelopment, they refused to give them to me. And I had to go to the Ombudsman, and the Ombudsman took 11 months to give them to me, and I finally figured out why I couldn't get the information. The faults sheet for that redevelopment, there were over 1,600 faults in that redevelopment. And obviously they just want it buried. That kind of stuff shouldn't be buried, because it just means it'll carry on to the next project. You don't fix things unless A, you acknowledge them, and B, take steps to make sure that better information is provided next time round.
What do you think is the most important function of the mayor?
I think putting good information in front of councillors and getting the confidence of councillors that you are impartial and that you will give them all the respect that they deserve because so many thousand people will have voted for each one of them. There is a lot more to the mayoral role though. To say just one thing's most important is difficult. As a figurehead for the city, as somebody who actually gets up there and says, look, our city can do this. You've seen Tim Shadbolt do it in Invercargill, famously. I'm no Tim Shadbolt, but I believe I have some of the pizzazz that will allow us to show Dunedin in more of its wonderful, eclectic light.
Do you have the skills to lead the council?
I certainly do. I have 9 fairly tough years actually, of having been a councillor. I have a very good knowledge of the Local Government Act, which is very important for a mayor. Very good knowledge of standing orders. I've had to learn standing orders very well because I've been subject to them from time to time, you understand. But more than that, I have a real feel for what it is that we have in this city that is special. I get very good feedback by visiting the lunchrooms and smoko rooms of a lot of businesses around the town, and I believe that from the feedback I get there, that I can represent Dunedin in a way that most people will actually be very appreciative of.
Where do you think Dunedin's future lies?
It lies in a quality of life, and our current mayor recognises that as well. He said so today. When you have a really good quality of life, when you get the drain sorted, a few other things like that, but in addition to that, we have so many other wonders here. We have fantastic wildlife, we have wonderful nature, our built environment is wonderful. What happened in Vogel Street, some people have tried to take credit for, but actually what happened in Vogel Street was because someone was clever enough in the DCC to get the planning department to look the other way, while individuals, wonderful developers in Dunedin, were able to develop that area when they weren't supposed to because the plan didn't allow actually what they were doing. So we need to get out of the way. The second generation plan is going to hobble business and hobble all kinds of activity here unless we do something about it. Currently, it's an extremely awkward document. It has things in it like you're not allowed to build anything in South Dunedin unless it's relocatable. How do you build a tilt slab commercial building that is relocatable? It's basically a death knell for the biggest flat area in Dunedin. We've got to revisit it. A number of our strategies are also, quite frankly, just ideological messes. They need to be revisited in a practical way and in a way that allows business to get up and do what it wants to do. Currently, a lot of businesses just have to go south. I mean, our own business, when we set up a wood processing mill, we couldn't do it in our own area because our planning permission just wasn't going to allow that to happen. They had to put it down in Milton. This sort of thing has been going on for far too long. I know of a business not that long ago, a $60 million investment went south when they would have preferred to do it here because they were Dunedin boys to begin with.
Dunedin City Council mayoral candidate Lee Vandervis, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Was that 10 minutes?
That was well and truly. After the break on The South Today, we'll take a look at weather for Thursday.
Silberhorn's Collagen Plus naturally supports your collagen levels, giving you younger, firmer looking skin, healthier, shinier hair and stronger nails. Be quick, buy one now and get a second pack half price. Call 0800 502 402.
Hello, my name is Anne Galloway and I'm standing for election to Dunedin City Council. I have lived and worked in Dunedin for 20 years and I'm very proud of this city. And I do know that at times there are very difficult decisions that need to be made. We need councillors who care about the people, about their issues such as healthcare, housing and an ageing population. Vote for me and I will do my best for you and for Dunedin.
Hi, my name is Wonderful. I believe that together we can build a brighter future for Dunedin. I'm presenting two major infrastructure proposals that won't cost the ratepayer a single cent. The first is a flood protection scheme for South Dunedin based on successfully used displacement tent systems overseas. The second is a major new redevelopment of our Harborside area to create a world-class community space. Vote Wonderful and let's build a brighter future together. Thank you.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Hi, I'm Dave Cole, Mayor of Dunedin, and together we're building a great city, not just for now, but for the future. And I'm committed to creating a positive legacy of sensible investments, sustainable businesses, an emphasis on infrastructure and environment, healthier homes, and your community well-being. A future our kids can be really proud to inherit. If you want the same positive future, please mark 1 for Dave Cole for Mayor and return your voting form. Thanks.
Welcome back, and now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. About 400 Queenstown Lakes residents have been voicing their concerns to mayoral and councillor candidates. An autistic Dunedin teenager is thrilled with his collection of old phones, which he'll recycle in exchange for an iPad. And the annual Polyfest show is giving about 6,000 young pupils the chance to perform their long practiced routines. It's time now for a look at what's going to be in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and Dave Cannon joins us. Good evening.
Rebecca, how are you?
Good, thank you, Dave. Have you got your hat back yet?
I haven't got my hat back yet, my cap, but I've had some sympathetic email support for that, so hopefully it'll turn up. You never know.
I'm sure it will.
I went looking for it again today, but no luck. Tomorrow's lead story, probably about the cutbacks to New Zealand Post's rural deliveries.
Ooh.
It's going up to about a quarter now of people who are not going to have rural delivery, only 5 days a week instead of 6, so got coverage of that. We've got coverage of the Merrill Forum. We have Mr Vanderson here tonight. We've had coverage of that forum today. There's a big helicopter safety survey coming out. We'll get some details of that. And the young javelin thrower from Dunedin, Holly, the won a silver medal today at the Paralympics.
Wonderful.
So we've got coverage of that. And the Wash is talking about courier post and getting deliveries of your parcels from courier post.
Nice. Good stuff. That's in tomorrow's ODT. Thank you, Dave. Time now for weather.
The South Today weather update proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorns Emu Oil.
And here is today's southern view as taken of Lake Dunstan from Old Cromwell. To the situation, a trough of low pressure is developing in the Tasman Sea. It'll edge closer tomorrow with the nor'west flow increasing over the South Island. We're looking for nor'westers with cloud increasing for these towns tomorrow, all expecting a high of 15. Nor'westers for Te Anau with rain developing and 14 degrees. And some high cloud for Timaru with a high of 14. In Dunedin tonight remaining fine with a low of 5. Tomorrow sunny periods with nor'westers freshening and a high of 18. And on Friday some cloud with rain in the morning, but it will clear but then come back again at night. Gusty west to nor'west winds with 15 degrees. And in Invercargill tonight, high cloud increasing with westerlies and high cloud increasing again tomorrow with northerlies freshening and a high of 17. And that's news from the south. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.